Hi, I'm Glenn, City of Van Fishing Field Team, COAF Field Team on YouTube. And today is Saturday, January 22. And today we're going to answer the mail. We got a question concerning, well, some pros and cons between BFS, Bait Finesse Systems style fishing, or ultralight bait casting, and spin casting. And so I'm not an expert, so I just kind of looked online, different things, and what I noticed was there's a lot of info or a lot of comparisons between spinning gear versus bait casting, as well as spinning gear and bait finesse, or that ultralight bait casting. So I kind of just, went with, let me look at what BFS pros may be from what I looked online, and just lumped spin casting and spinning together, and let's see where it takes us. So here's what I found out. One, it's really down to personal preference. You decide to take one over the other. You like spinning, you like spin casting, you like bait finesse or bait casting. So it's personal preference is the key factor. So some folks will always stick with spinning, and other folks will always stick with bait casting. And in this case, moving it up a step in Bait Finesse Systems Fishing, or that ultralight bait casting. Let's see. The other thing I noticed was they don't recommend Bait Finesse Systems Fishing if you're a first-time bait caster. The recommendation is get your thumb educated and just using a normal bait casting reel or combo, and then going to bait finesse if you do so desire. So that was a big takeaway that I picked up with my online search. Looking at a pro for bait finesse or bait casting in general is efficient casting. So you cast the reel, it's in your same hand, you can go ahead and start reeling in. You don't have to flip the spool and whatnot. You can say that the same thing with spin casting, etc. So it's kind of like a subjective thing there. But that was one thing to keep in mind, was efficiency in casting. The other one was the versatility. So you get more versatility, so more of a con for the bait finesse side, but more of a pro for the spinning and spin casting, because, you can adjust different lures, weights, and whatnot a lot easier using your ultralight, or correction, using your spinning gear versus the bait finesse systems. You have to kind of tweak it a little bit. May not be able to use heavier lures or lighter lures as readily as you can with a spinning gear or spin casting gear. From a pro standpoint, and it may be subjective because some folks are really accurate at spinning and spin casting, is the accuracy from a bait finesse standpoint. Because you can use your thumb, you're able to feather the spool and get it to land. And I think that's one of the big pros for bait finesse, is being able to basically feather that spool and get it to drop more accurately than the spinning or spin casting setup. From a pro versus con, the con for bait finesse and the pro for spin casting and spinning is easy entry. Everyone pretty much can pick up a spinning or spin casting combo and start casting fairly easily, or fairly quickly, compared to bait finesse and bait casting in general. Is you got to educate that thumb. So if you want to get started quickly into fishing, start with spinning, spin casting. If you want to step up your game as a bait caster into bait finesse and try casting some of these light lures, because those lighter or smaller lures may get you more bites from bass that have been, matured or experienced or exposed to a lot of different lures and baits and whatnot. Having that lighter, ultralight, tinier lure may get them to elicit a strike. So another thing to keep in mind. Easy entry, yes, from a spin casting standpoint, but next step up preference that may come up. From an expense standpoint, spin casting a lot cheaper, economical than the bait finesse. I was able to pick up the KastKing Zephyr BFS reel for about 70 bucks or so off of Amazon. I already had an existing rod, so it was a quick entry into Bait Finesse Systems, and it kind of got me hooked. And then I was able to jump into a Shimano Scorpion 17 BFS, the Extra Gear XG, for like 290 bucks. But luckily I had I had a bunch of gift cards, so it cost me basically 20 bucks out of pocket, out of my own money, versus gifted to me. And from a rod standpoint, I was able to dust off some old rods that I had, and I found a Daiwa mini cast that is rated for 1/16 ounce to 1/8 ounce, 5.5 foot rod, and it paired really nicely with the Shimano. And then I wanted to take an extra step further by getting a short rod, because that Daiwa was a 5-piece, and if I was in a quick hurry to take it from the car and go head out and go fishing, I had to put it together, versus with this short rod that I have now that I picked up from Bass Pro Shops, Graphic Series 3-foot short rod. I just basically have the lure on there ready to go, and I just park and go out the door, and I'm ready to start casting. So expense-wise, yes, it's going to be a lot more expensive than your spin cast as well as spinning gear. Because of the expense, and also, well, you may have a tendency not to want to take it to some sandy, salty areas, and you're less willing to expose it to that environment. That may be a con from the Bait Finesse standpoint. Luckily, with both the Cast King as well as that Shimano Scorpion, both of those are rated for salt water. They've got seal bearings and whatnot, and so you can just pretty much expose it to the elements and wash it off. But I do have I would be careful about getting sand in those reels, just because that wouldn't be good for the reel itself. But hey, the same thing also applies with spinning gear and spin casting gear. Think of it more of a subjective case where are you willing to take it and expose it more to get beat up more, be it in sandy environments and whatnot. Let's see, distance. Well, I've been able to cast a spinning, especially my ultralight spinning gear outfit, a lot further than I have with my Bait Finesse System combo. So I would say lean toward distance. If you want distance, go to the ultralight spinning gear. If you want more of that accuracy piece, then your Bait Finesse piece. So that's what we looked online and discovered. I guess the key takeaways from it is it's all going to be preference if you want to try Bait Finesse. I do like the suggestion that learn to bait cast with a conventional one before you move on to those lighter Bait Finesse Systems reels. And then from an efficiency standpoint, yay or nay, I mean, I get what they say. That's more of, again, I would say subjective in how you fish. Additionally, from a versatility standpoint, the spinning gear, spin casting gear gives you a lot more range of things to cast versus being limited from the Bait Finesse System standpoint, because, well, you can't go as light as you can with the spinning gear in some cases compared to the Bait Finesse. And then the big one from a pro versus con, well, it costs a lot more to jump into the Bait Finesse Systems. If you do have the opportunity and you want to go low entry, that Cast King Zephyr is an awesome one to try. 70 bucks and you're in. Just grab one of your old rods and whatnot and see how that flies. But other than that, I would say that is a con, the expense, and because you pay more, as well as that tendency to not want to trash it in some environments, you may be less likely or more concerned to kind of baby it in those environments, be it sandy or salty conditions. And then lastly, the distance piece. If you want that distance, go with an ultralight spinning gear. But again, I'm hooked. I just like trying it.